Hello, welcome to Bible Guru. Thank you for joining us on our journey through the Bible. Genesis chapter 29. In the first 8 verses, we see that Jacob arrives in Padanaram, and he knows that this is the area where Laban lives. He strikes up a conversation with some shepherds who are waiting to roll a stone away from the mouth of the well until all of their sheep are gathered together in one place. When he's talking with them, he asks if Laban is there. They say, yeah, he's one of our neighbors. And he asks about Laban's daughters, and they say, oh, that's one of them right over there. So, just as it was with Jacob's grandfather, Abraham, who sent his chief servant to get a wife for Isaac, Jacob's dad. The coincidences are beyond coincidence. He just happens to show up at the right well. It just happens to be the time that they're going to be watering their sheep. Rachel just happens to be coming with a group of sheep at the time that he's having this conversation with these men, these shepherds. So, he tries to get rid of them, realizing that this is Rachel, that this is Laban's daughter. They're not willing to leave. They say, we can't water our sheep until the stone is rolled away. We don't roll the stone away until everybody's here. So he gets all excited. He rolls the stone away by himself, which I'm sure was quite a task. And I would think if I were Rachel, I would be surprised by this man who rolls the stone away, comes, kisses her, tells her, I am your cousin. And then Rachel runs. You have that sense of urgency again, so we can tell the rest of the story. It really is a beautiful continuation of the stories that we've already had in the lives of the children of Abraham. So Jacob is immediately smitten with Rachel, adding fuel to the fiery argument of whether love at first sight is a thing. He was willing to pay any price to win her as his wife, but he came to his uncle's house with nothing to offer other than himself. So Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the older was Leah. The name of the younger was Rachel. Leah had weak eyes. Not quite sure what that means. Some commentators think, well, she had difficulty seeing. Some people think it's some kind of visual thing. By visual, I mean what she looked like, that she just wasn't as attractive in terms of her appearance, and something about her eyes that did that. Maybe one eye was looking this way and the other one's looking that way. I have no idea. But Rachel had a lovely figure and was beautiful. Jacob was in love with Rachel and said, I'll work for you 7 years in return for your younger daughter Rachel. Oh, wow. Okay, that's a great deal. Laban said, it's better that I give her to you than some other man. Stay here with me. So Jacob served 7 years to get Rachel, but they seemed like only a few days because he was so in love with her. Oh, it's so cute. I mean, honestly, this really is a romantic story. Then Jacob said to Laban, give me my wife. My time is completed, and I want to make love to her. Jacob is not trying to dance around the subject of sex with Laban's daughter, even when he's talking to his father-in-law-to-be. He's ready. So Laban brought together all the people of the place and gave a feast. But when evening came, he took his daughter Leah and brought her to Jacob. And Jacob made love to her. And Laban gave his servant Zilpah to his daughter as her attendant. When morning came, there was Leah. So Jacob said to Laban, what is this you've done to me? I served you for Rachel, didn't I? Why have you deceived me? If you're mystified how Jacob could make love to Leah and not realize that she wasn't Rachel, keep in mind This is 3,000 plus years ago. They didn't have electrical lights. But still, wouldn't their voices have been different? Why didn't Leah say something about the ruse, unless she was kind of in favor of it? Now we have the first of what will be a chain of events that will make it look like God's promises are not necessarily going the way one might expect. This is a pattern we'll see throughout Jacob's life. It's also demonstrated in many of the lives of the descendants of Jacob. That, of course, is something that we'll see as the story unfolds. Maybe it's something that we'll see in our own lives. God seems to do his work, as many have said, in mysterious and unexpected ways. Laban replied, "It's not our custom here to give the younger daughter in marriage before the older one. Finish the daughter's bridal week. Then I will give you the younger daughter also in return for another 7 years of work." So basically he's saying, yeah, I gave you Leah for the first 7 years. I'll give you Rachel for the next 7 years. I guess he liked having Jacob around. He had that extra set of hands. Jacob must have been pretty strong. He moved the stone away by himself. So Jacob the deceiver, the heel catcher, the supplanter, has been bushwhacked, hoodwinked, deceived, and caught by his uncle. There's an old saying, what goes around comes around. It's true. While we anticipate the blessings of God because he is faithful, we can also expect that the law of sowing and reaping will always be true. We cannot connive and manipulate and expect to enjoy a life without consequences. Even though God will always be true to his word, we can expect our lives will not always be perfect. The world is not made that way. So, Jacob did so. He finished the week with Leah. Apparently they had this tradition. If you're going to have more than one wife, the first wife, you'll be with her for a week before any others come along. And then Laban gave him his daughter Rachel to be his wife. Laban gave his servant Bilhah to his daughter, Rachel, as her attendant. Even setting aside the strangeness of multiple spouses, the idea that sisters became the wives of one and the same man is unsettling. And that Laban was not only okay with this, but that he was the one who deceitfully arranged it. It's a few steps beyond incomprehensible. Things were definitely different back then. And I can't help feeling that some of the more recent traditions are superior. Jacob made love to Rachel also, and his love for Rachel was greater than his love for Leah, and he worked for Laban another 7 years. Now we've already admonished Jacob for his manipulations, yet he faithfully works for 14 years for his 2 wives, even though his uncle was much less than honest in his dealings. This is a sign of a kind of reliability and integrity that God blesses. In this, Jacob was not being a supplanter. He's behaving as a man who's governed by God. It seems that he's learning as he's getting older. So we see Rachel remains childless, but Leah became pregnant and gave birth to a son. She named him Reuben. So the firstborn son of Jacob is Reuben. Second, Simeon. Then Levi. Then Judah. Then she stopped having children. For now. For us, and for our understanding of all the stories that are soon to come in the Bible, it's important to remember that Leah was the mother of Israel's firstborn, Reuben, the father of that tribe, obviously, the tribe of Reuben. She was also the mother of Levi, the father of the priestly tribe. And she was the mother of Judah, the father of the tribe of the kings of Israel. Leah, not Rachel, appears to be the one through whom God plans to fulfill his plans for bringing the promised Messiah into the world. Rachel had favor in her lifetime. Leah has blessings and honors that last into eternity.